Hello folks, sorry for that interruption a few minutes ago. I just got started. One of my neighbors pulled in. This is Mike from Mike's Magic Auto Detailing and Paint Enhancement here in a sunny Friday afternoon here in Sharpsburg, Georgia. Yeah, got all my last couple long-term projects done. Oh boy, Sally has been having to sit outside, hey Miss Tina, in the weather all that time, which is okay, but she's gotten really hammered. Oh boy, let me show you. Ooh-wee. Look at all that stuff, Miss Tina, on the hood, would you? The whole car's like this. Sitting outside in the rain, driving it in the rain, all that kind of stuff. But I got a new set of tires on, which are only a couple of weeks old, so I'll be stripping those down and coating them. The wheels are all nasty. I'll be cleaning those up. Of course, I'll do the tires and wheels first. Y'all should probably remember that. These tires should be relatively easy since they are new. Most of the difficulty people have, Miss Tina, when they're doing tires is tires that have aged some, been driven a lot due to heats, that kind of stuff, centrifugal force. Most of the discolorations and what looks like dirt to people, us detailers call it browning effect, that is on tires, is not from the dirt, transmission fluid and all that kind of stuff that gets up on the tires from being driven. That stuff is relatively easy to get off. What most of that browning effect is over time there are chemicals inside the rubber which, due to centrifugal force, heat, that sort of thing, they work their way to the surface and they leave a brown discoloration on the surface of the sidewall of the tire, and it can be very difficult to remove if you can even get it all off. See, these tires are new, so they don't have that yet, so I won't need much of a soap to get these clean enough to coat them, and I probably won't need much. I'll probably just use a non-acidic cleaner on my chrome wheels for the same reason, even though it's been a month or so since Sally has been maintained. It shouldn't be that bad, even though I will use an acidic cleaner on the wheelbarrows, which are wheelbarrows of this part way up in here, because that's where most of your brake dust ends up. Hey, Mr. Arnold, how you doing there, brother? But yeah, she is so nasty this time. 98% of the time or better, all Sally gets is what we call a rinseless wash. But with all this crap on here, that ain't gonna work. In fact, your normal retail level maintenance soap, I call it, that won't work either. It will remove the surface dirt only. That's all that stuff is designed to do. And it does that relatively well, particularly McGuire's Gold Class. It's my favorite among the retail soaps. But I'm going to have to use a strip soap to get most of these contaminants off of this paint, because many of them have actually bonded to the clear coat. And your regular soap is not going to take them off. Not going to happen. So what I'll probably do is pre-rinse it. Then I will foam it with a foam cannon, probably with Purple Power Boat and Vehicle Wash. A very strong soap. A lot of us detailers use that on a regular basis for these really nasty cars. And then I'll do the contact wash after the foaming and rinsing with another strong soap. Probably, I'll show you guys when I get around after I do it. It's another Meguiar's product, hard to find, but it is available on the retail level. It's a polishing car soap, but it's good for scouring your paint, because I'm almost certain that it's been a while, and with all this crap, I'm sure some of this has started to embed into the clear coat, Miss Tina, Mr. Arnold, and I'm more than likely going to have to clay bar this vehicle again. But now I may not, because my car has what they call a 9H titanium coating on it. And on top of that is the titanium sealant, which provides a couple sacrificial layers. Now, I may end up having to buff off this coating because I haven't maintained it properly, and recoat it, which is okay, not a big deal. So I may end up having to do what we call at a minimum of a one-step polish. But I was just going to show you guys, she has gotten nasty, nasty, nasty. And like I said, that's okay. I mean, I've got the titanium glass coating on the windshield. It will be interesting to see what just cleaning it off will do, even though this has been on here a couple years now. It's a 2-year glass coating, and I have loved it, loved it, loved it. But I may have to buff this glass again, do what we call a topical polish to remove some of these contaminants, because they bond and embed to glass just like they do to clear coat. And sometimes they can be difficult to get off. Now, topical polish will remove any contaminants that are on the surface of the glass, but that will not remove scratches. I don't know if y'all can see that scratch there. That's wiper blade scratch. Not recently. These were on the car when I got it a couple years ago. There's some other scratching on here, relatively minor. Yeah, you can remove that or reduce it vastly if you do what we call a substrate polish on the glass. Very time-consuming, intense physical labor. For example, when you're polishing the paint, you only want really enough pressure from the buffer on the paint to keep the pad in contact with the paint. You really don't want a lot of downward pressure. When you're doing substrate polishing on glass, it's just the opposite. You have to bear down, and you have to go over it and over it and over it and over it. To remove the scratches on this windshield would probably take 2-3 hours, maybe even more. Very intense work. That's why I don't do a lot of substrate polishing on customers' cars, because a lot of times, depending on what kind of vehicle it is, you can get a new windshield or a new side glass for less or about the same as I would charge to do the substrate polishing on the glass. Most of that I do is for these classic vehicles where, if at all possible, they want to keep the original glass if it's still on it. They want to maintain that OEM, the original equipment, wherever possible. So in those cases, it's worth the cost to them to have this done. Remove the scratches and keep the glass that was on the car when it came from the showroom. So, but typically speaking, daily drivers, everyday run-of-the-mill grocery getters, as I call them, you don't really want to pay for substrate polishing. You know, you can, a lot of times these replacements, if you handle it properly, are covered by your insurance, or mostly covered. So, yeah, most of the glass polishing I do is what we call topical polishing. Two totally different things. But topical polishing will remove 95, 98%, sometimes 100% of what I call drizzle stains. You know, where stuff gets on your windshield, runs down, it's left there, it bonds to the glass. No glass cleaner on the market, nothing is going to get that off. You are going to have to polish it, or old school, and some people still do it, on this tempered glass, which this is tempered, that's tempered, although this is layered, this is not, which really doesn't matter that much. Rear view mirrors, those are not tempered. You have to handle them totally different. You are not likely going to scratch this very easily. You're going to have to really hit it with something really hard and really sharp to scratch it. Because that tempered glass, as you well know, is very hard. So you have to be careful what you polish, where you polish, and what you polish with, blah, 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 blah. But I'm going to get started here, and I think what I will do first, I'll do my wheels and tires, get the tires ready for the coating, and then I'm going to do the foaming. I'll foam the car, rinse it off with distilled water to avoid spotting. Distilled water won't spot. This county water, even though I have a filter on it, if it dries, it will leave spots from the chemicals that are in the water to make it safe for us to drink. Not criticizing it, I'm just saying that's the way it is. Now you can buy what they call a deionization system that will remove all that so that the water doesn't spot. They are not too awfully expensive, but the filters, the cartridges that come with them, they don't last awfully long, X amount of hours of water flow, and to replace those, that's where they get you. So if you're considering one of those systems, check on what the filter replacement costs before you make up your mind. But anyway, after I do the foam wash and all that, what I might do is come back, if I have time, and show you the difference in just doing that before I even do the contact wash. Now I know as I'm standing here, I'm going to have to do a contact wash, but the ceramic coating that's on this car will push most of this off from the foaming and the rinsing. I guarantee you that, much more so than a sealant or just waxing it would have done. It's going to be much easier to clean up, I can assure you of that. But we'll come back, maybe, depending on my availability. Like I started the first video and somebody pulled in to talk to me about their truck, and I had to stop it. I was only like, what, 15 seconds into it. But I appreciate you guys dropping by, and, you know, hit the thumbs up, thumbs down, like, subscribe, tag, follow, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube or whatever. And if you're on YouTube and you hit the subscribe button, then you will be notified of the next video in the series on getting Sally spruced back up here. So I got to take her to the shop soon because the front end needs rebuilding. It's a 98. I mean, what do you know? What do you know? Okay. I appreciate you guys. Thank you very, very much. Goodbye now.